I might swerve in that corner, whoa, whoa. Bitch, hold on tight, cause I tweaking this bitch, I letting shit.
I might swerve in that corner, whoa, whoa, whoa. Bitch, hold on tight before I look at that shit, I let that shit go.
LiAngelo Ball has become the hottest rapper in the industry in what felt like overnight with his newest song, Tweaker. No matter where you look, people have been talking and posting this song, with Jello even getting to perform this past weekend in Detroit at halftime of the Lions-Commanders playoff game. Due to this song's popularity and charting in the top 30, earned himself a $20 million deal. Let's see how LiAngelo Ball went from a prison in China to an 8-figure rap deal. Growing up in the Ball family, LiAngelo was the middle child, and throughout his high school experience at Chino Hills, he was seen as the third brother. The oldest, Lonzo, had become a top 2 pick in the NBA for arguably the most famous basketball team in the world, and his brother LaMelo had been in every single headline out there for his unique path to the NBA, which I covered in this video up here. If you haven't watched that, make sure to go watch that. So what was going on with LiAngelo? Well, at Chino Hills, he made a name for himself, becoming a 3-star prospect after leading California with 33.8 points per game his senior year. Because of this, he had verbally committed to play at UCLA, but that was when he was a sophomore in high school, following his brother Lonzo's footsteps. During his freshman season in college, he was projected to come off the bench for UCLA and would get some playing time in a preseason game against Cal State Los Angeles, where he would put up 11 points. Yes, Cal State is a D2 school, but it was still encouraging for Jello to see the ball go through the hoop during this time, coming off of the bench. After this game, the team would actually travel to Shanghai for their season opener against Georgia Tech. But this is where Jello's career would start to derail, as he would end up getting arrested for stealing in China with 2 other teammates. This would become a massive story in both America and China, as stealing in China was seen as a much more serious offense compared to the States. The 3 teammates were arrested for stealing sunglasses from the Louis Vuitton store near the team's hotel. At the time of the story breaking, it was said that the 3 would face up to 10 years in prison after their crime, which was caused by a massive uproar in America and made this story even bigger than it was before. With the nature of how big the Ball family had been at the time, and the fact that the players were coming from one of the most historic college teams in the country, everyone was talking about this. The story became so massive that the 3 players ended up being released by the current President Trump, who spoke to the Chinese president to get them released from prison. After this dilemma, Ball and his teammates would be suspended from the team, but he would end up withdrawing from the college a few weeks after his suspension, now having to look for a new route to the NBA. Now, without a college to play at, Jello was still adamant on playing in the NBA, but he would have to find another place to play on his road to the draft, which would happen in less than 6 months after he left UCLA, as he was still intending on going into the 2018 NBA draft. He would end up traveling with his dad and brother LaMelo to play in Lithuania. This would mean that he would lose his amateur status, becoming a pro player in Lithuania, ending any chance of him going back to college to play, but that was a part of his and LeVar's plan at the time. He would stay in Lithuania to prepare for the 2018 draft from December of that year to April, and during this time, he would play well, but not well enough to become an actual prospect in the draft. As many experts during this time said, he had a very, very outside chance of even being drafted anywhere in the draft. He would average 12.6 points and 2.7 rebounds, shooting 41.5% from 3. After leaving Lithuania, he would compete for his dad's league called the Junior Basketball Association for the Los Angeles Ballers. In his first game, he would drop 53 points, 10 assists, and 10 boards. Throughout his time, he would also be named to the All-Star team, win All-Star Game MVP, and Finals MVP, winning the finals as well, and prove that he was a lot better than the competition at the league at the time. The competition was nothing to write home about, but it did prove that he could play at a somewhat pro level. Now, for the next year, we didn't hear much from LiAngelo, as it seemed like he was still training, trying to make it to the NBA in some capacity, and he would try out for the Summer League, where he could try to find his way onto a G League team's roster. He would end up missing out on the 2019 Summer League after an ankle injury he would need surgery for, but he would come back from injury in the early 2020 season and sign with the OKC Blue as a practice player, but would end up not being able to play as the rest of the season would get canceled, as we know, during 2020. He would return in the end of the season, signing with the Pistons at the end of 2020 as a practice player, but would not end up playing a game and would be cut. At this point, his career wasn't painting the way he had hoped, but his biggest chance would come in the summer of 2021. His brother LaMelo Ball, who was a Rookie of the Year for the Hornets, would bring him in as a summer workout partner, as each player could bring in one person during this time in the offseason. During his time working out with LaMelo, the team had been watching and was so impressed by his workouts that he would get a spot on the Summer League team. During his first game, he would have 5 3-pointers. He would continue his run with them during the Summer League and would end up getting drafted by the team's G League companion, the Greensboro Swarm, with the 14th overall pick. He would end up playing in 28 games that season, but would never be consistent enough to start more than 6 games. He would then bounce between the Swarm and the Hornets summer team and would end up in the 2022-2023 season, only playing 3 games for them, and would end up getting cut from the team. So we wouldn't hear much about Gelo for a while, until about 2024, where we found out that he was playing pro basketball in Mexico. He would only play a handful of games for the team before leaving with an injury, and it seemed like his dreams of playing pro basketball might have been over. During this time away from the game, we would see him on social media doing podcasts and videos with his brothers and staying in the spotlight, but we knew that he wasn't playing basketball in between that time period, at least professionally, between him playing on the Swarm and playing in Mexico, and now dealing with an injury in 2024. Now, obviously the Balls know how to stay relevant, with 2 of them being in the NBA with LaMelo and Lonzo, and LeVar always coming up every once in a while for saying something. He knows how to get his boys popular and famous. He did very well with that, as we know, with almost all of them playing in the NBA at some capacity. And one day, though, in January of this year, his career path would change forever when one of his songs got very popular on TikTok and it exploded with that momentum. His debut single, Tweaker, would end up getting released, and it would end up at number 29 on the Billboard charts with over 25 million streams on Spotify within the first few weeks. Now, this is absolutely huge. If you think about it, he had the number 29 biggest song out of all the songs in America at the time, and this was a guy that just released his first song. And yes, LiAngelo Ball was a bigger name, but it's not like he was one of these famous basketball players that we see in the league, like Dame, who had released songs. Gelo's song has more streams than most of Dame's songs combined. Now that just shows how massive this song is. Since then, he has signed a contract that is said to be worth $12 million with Def Jam, giving him the chance to become a full-time rapper. We have seen many athletes make music before, including many NBA guys like I just talked about, but no one expected Gelo to be the one to break into the mainstream audience. You can't go anywhere on the internet without seeing this song or hearing it, and it has become a massive hit, proving that by breaking into the top 30. Gelo says that this is only the start, and Def Jam is hoping that their investment pays out in the future. Gelo's future looks bright now, and he has made a name for himself in the music industry, proving that he is no longer just the third Ball brother. Let me know down below what you guys think. Do you think Gelo is going to have a breakout year in rap this year and maybe get some more big hits by the end of the year? Let me know down below what you think, and I'll see you guys in the next one.